Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Rob Whitfield, award-winning CEO, executive coach, and founder of Redefine Winning, pioneering consultancy focused on transforming teams and leaders through intentional behavior change and high-performance collaboration. Rob, welcome to Founders Future.
It's fantastic to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. I'm excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started Redefine Winning. What were you doing before? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
I started my career in consulting, and it's a very large consulting company that I'm sure your listeners would have heard of, but I won't say which one it is because of what I'm about to say. In the work that I was doing, which was in the tech space, I noticed that individuals were doing great work in the tech side. They were coding, they were testing, they were getting the stuff done. But the adoption side on the other part of it was not happening. The businesses, the folks in the business weren't necessarily adopting to the technology. And look, we're talking a long time ago. We're talking about in the 90s here.
Mm.
And I noticed then that there was a great deal of opportunity for folks to come in and coach and help people think about the tools they're using, the mindsets, the practices in order to get better outcomes. So that was one side of it. Now, couple that with my experience in that large consulting company. And I had a coach who actually only met me once a year, and that was to give me my performance review. Never discussed anything with me between the performance reviews and didn't solicit any feedback from me or from my client teams along the way. And I thought, I am absolutely convinced that's not how coaching works.
Mm.
So the combination of those two things together, seeing the need for coaching for behavior change within the client teams, within technology, strategy, process, or any area, and also the back end of that, not having the support in that large organization, it made me think there's got to be a better way. And it was as a result of that sort of apex that I thought, let me see if I can help other people redefine winning.
I like that. What was it a challenge transitioning from obviously when you're in consulting, it's well-paying jobs, secure, stable, prestige in a sense to doing your own thing and then not really knowing what's going to come out of it. What was that like from a mental and emotional perspective for you?
Was a challenge, but it was a challenge that I felt I had to rise to. And here's why. Look, I still remember my personnel number from the 90s from this company, and it's a very long number. I felt a bit like a robot in that
Mm.
business. And there are many other consulting companies that are different. And so I'm not saying that they're not the right answer for folks. But for me, I felt like a very small fish in a very large lake. And that didn't feel right for me. So I deliberately chose to leave and to start doing my own thing. Now, when I left, what happened was another company came and said to me, hey, given that you're no longer there, would you like to come and work with us? And they put forward this, what I would call a very generous offer. And I sat with this offer in my front room and I looked at it and I looked at it. And actually, what happened was I was so late to bed that my dog, who'd already gone to bed, got up and came and found me and said, it's time to go to bed. And I just sat there looking at this offer thinking, I don't know if I should take it or not. And I went to bed, woke up the next day. And when I got up, I thought, look, I would have a great opportunity there. I'd have a great career. I'd make a significant amount of money. And at the same time, I wouldn't be fulfilled. And there is something about the opportunity to start your own business and reach out to people, work with the people that you want to work with, and have that tremendous impact in a small business that you don't get when you're in a large organization.
1000%. A lot of people I feel don't take that leap because of that fear, because of that uncertainty. It's one of those things where you never know until.
But that's spot on. And in some places, and I live in Los Angeles now, the healthcare, you need healthcare in many
Yeah.
territories, right? And so you don't want to give that up. And then there's the financial security and so on. So in part, the world or parts of the world make it difficult for people to let go and make that leap. But
Mm,
it's one of the most joyous things when you do, and you start to see what the impact is that you can have. And of course, there's the financial measure of success. But really, it's the pride of the work that you can do and know that you did it. You
yeah,
absolutely did it.
for sure. I love that. Let's dive into Redefine Winning to give the listeners a little bit more context. Who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with?
It's interesting you ask that question because historically, it had always been C-suite executives and leaders in organizations. But we're seeing a shift in that now. Whilst I love working with them and the impact we can have at the top of the organization is significant, what we're also seeing, in addition to that, are some of the mid-level managers, mid-level leaders who are newer on their journey, trying to find out how they can make an impact themselves while still staying employed by the organizations that they work for. And then by contrast, we're working with a larger number of entrepreneurs, small startups, individuals who are on their own journey to start their business.
Mm,
That is really fulfilling as well. So it's almost two sides of this coin. You've got on the one hand individuals who are starting out, and you've got on the other hand the executives and leaders of some of the world's best known companies. And
mm,
every challenge is different, every opportunity is different, but they're all fulfilling.
for sure. Now, with the entrepreneurs, with the mid-level managers, and also with the C-suite and the execs, is your client the company or is it the individual who seeks you out and pays out of their pocket? Is it B2B or is it B2C?
It could be either B2B or B2C.
Okay.
I would say that the bigger mix is B2B for us.
Okay. Very cool. So with these ideal client avatars in mind, what are the core offerings? What problems do people generally come to you with? What outcomes do you help drive with them?
Yeah, we target four key areas. The first one is you have an intact team, whether that's a founder team or maybe it's one of the C-suite teams, and they know that they're not achieving their full potential. There could be conflicts, there could be a lack of transparency, whatever it might be, but it's inhibiting their business results. And we work with that team, sometimes one-off, but more typically over a series of meetings to help that team achieve its full potential. And it's our methodology that we call team cohesion. And in fact, on our website, we've got our free diagnostic if you wanted to give that a go. That's the first one. The second one is not just an individual team, but a cross-functional set of teams. For example, how do you sell effectively in your organization? You probably need different teams to come together. You might need the sales team and IT and procurement and so on and so forth. And in order to drive results that are really focused on an ROI, how do you get those people to work together across their silos, across the functional areas to drive business results? And that's what we target. The third part would be what I would call specific training needs. So when there's a learning experience request, we get, for example, we don't know what conflict is. How do we handle conflict? Or
Mm,
how do we think about what we can influence and what we can't? How do we build resilience? And we'll
mhm.
target that specific set of content there. And also in that space, we run a lot of keynote speaking engagements, action-oriented keynotes for large audiences, typically where we can ignite a passion for challenge and change and get people to think differently.
Yeah.
And then our fourth area, the final one, is the individual coaching piece. And that's where we're working with the executive or the founder or the leader behind the scenes. And we're helping them to be the best version of themselves so they can go out and work with their teams, with their customers to get the best results for them. So it's all four of those areas, really.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for breaking that down. Of these four, I'm curious, which one is the main driver of revenue?
For us, I would say the primary one would be the team coaching, so the execs and leaders and their intact teams.
Got it. And does that look like workshops in terms of the delivery method? What does that look like?
Yes, that's right. It's workshops which could be in person, typically at least the start, or at least a mix of in person and remote sessions
Yeah,
over a series. So it could be say a 6 month period. Because here's why.
I see.
Behavior change is not one and done. You can ask someone to make a change, but unless they're held accountable to it, it's not one and done. And we all know that we shouldn't do certain things. I know I shouldn't eat that pizza, but I do. But that's not helping me get that six pack or keep it. And
For
so
sure.
it's all about the focus on the team, the individual coaching within the team members, but also the team coaching experience.
Powerful. Yeah, I completely agree. Change doesn't happen overnight. And like a 3-day workshop is great, but it's really the work over an extended period of time that I think makes lasting change.
Yeah,
When
and
it,
all in on that. And often we'll run a specific event over a day or a day and a half, and do that on a regular basis every 6 weeks or so. And the
Nice.
change that happens is significant as a consequence of that.
Yeah, I love that. So I have a lot of coaches and consultants that listen to this, and something I always like to talk about is lead generation, customer acquisition. Fortunately or unfortunately, sales and marketing is a big part of this business, any business really, especially in the consulting space. When it comes to lead generation, marketing, customer acquisition, what do you do on that front?
Actually, the first thing that we do, the biggest driver of our success, is actually delivering well. So we have a large, loyal, trusted consumer base, business base that come back to us every time they need something because they know that we will deliver really well, exceed expectations, help them achieve their goals or more, and get the right outcomes. So for us, delivering well is the best sales tool. And then if we think about the folks who don't know about us yet, then we generate a lot of thought leadership, which is available on our website for free. And that shows people the knowledge that we have, the research that we undertake to help them in very practical ways. Third part is on social media. We're using a lot of that same research to disseminate across social media, specifically on LinkedIn, on my page, and also for the company page, and then on X, and more recently on Blue Sky. And then finally, we're looking at additional ways to drive business through partners and other organizations that could help us with that.
Okay, what's Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is the Twitter equivalent or X equivalent that was started by the founder of Twitter.
Okay, that was Jack Dorsey, I believe.
That's right.
Okay, very cool. I guess I've been off social media for a while.
I don't
Just
blame you.
yeah, completely didn't know what that was. Okay, so it sounds referrals, obviously delivering well, you get a lot of repeat customers from that. And then
Mhm.
organic social media, LinkedIn, X. Do you do any sort of cold outreach, any sort of paid ads, anything like that, or no?
We do a little bit of cold outreach. We have done paid ads in the past, but didn't see as much value from that as we wanted. So we paused on that, at least in the interim.
Fair enough. And was that on LinkedIn? Was that on Meta?
That was on LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah. LinkedIn is tough, man. It's because we invest like $500,000 a month on Meta ads,
Mhm.
and obviously we keep doing it because it works. We've tried LinkedIn many different times, and I don't know what it is. The platform is difficult for direct response marketing.
Right.
If we're trying to get somebody to take action right then and there, I think it's good for brand awareness. But if in terms of finding an ROI from your ad spend immediately, Meta is just so much better.
Good to know.
Yeah, so something to think about for sure. What have you found to be the most effective? If you were advising somebody who's looking to start their own consulting business and they're like, okay, I just want to get my first 5 to 10 clients. I want to
Mhm.
get proof of concept so I can deliver, so I can start building a referral network. What would you tell them to do in that scenario?
I'd start by saying you've got to be really clear on what you're offering because the coaching, the consulting market is saturated. So if you're not different, you're not going to stand out from the crowd. Number one, be really clear on what you're offering and how that is different from all the other offerings in the market. I think that's the biggest one. I see a lot of, in fact, we coach a lot of consulting and coach companies, and we do train the trainers on that kind of thing as well. And
Cool.
then the first thing I look at when my team comes to me and says, "Hey, we're going to work with this company," I look at it and I say, well, "What do they even offer? What does it look like? And how is it different from the generic services that are out there?" So that's the biggest one for me. And then
Yeah.
secondly, look, your network is really important. The people in your network will help you, or if you don't have that network, you've got to think about how you can build that. And the building of a network, typically speaking, it's best to lead with generosity and share some content or ideas or a giveaway or something like that shows people that you know exactly what you're talking about and that you are specialists in that space. That will
Mm,
get people to come back to you and ask when it's time, because maybe it's not time straight away, to ask for help when it is time.
yeah. Perfect. Beautifully said. I'm curious now at this point in your professional career,
Mm.
when you think of the future and you think about where you want to take Redefine Winning, paint me that picture. What does the next couple of years look like for you?
I think that by going, Redefine Winning is going is it's all about scale for us. How do we help more people achieve their full potential? How do we help more teams get where they need to be? Because a lot of teams are falling short. In fact, only sort of 20% of teams are really achieving their full potential, maybe even less if we're being honest. And that's inhibiting organizational outcomes as well. And our view is that teams transform society. So if we can work with those individuals and teams to transform society, that's what we want to do. Now, how do we get there? We've got to keep growing and scaling our business, and we're hiring, so let us know. In addition to that, we've got to keep growing our client base. So really, it's about growth and growth. At the same time, in parallel to the continued research that we do, that shows the trends in workplaces around the world, in all sorts of organizations, anywhere a human being is. And of course, we've got to think about AI as well. The work we do is high touch, and although we can and do use AI in some places, that I don't think will ever replace, or at least not in the next sort of 10, 15 years, will replace the human touch because it's so important in the work that we do.
Could not agree more. I completely agree with that. When you're looking to hire, what are you specifically looking for?
We're hiring in a number of different places right now and continue to do from junior analysts who are starting out in their career because we coach people for a living. So it's good for us to live that in-house into sales roles as well. So there's, I would say, and delivery, but the biggest would be the first two of those.
Okay, very cool. Any final words before we wrap up?
I think whatever it is that the people are doing, they should really enjoy it. So if they get out of bed and they don't want to be doing it, then they're in the wrong role. They're not at the right company. It's not right for them. I have to and enjoy getting up at all sorts of times, day and night. I travel around the world. It's not as glamorous as it sounds. I see airports, I see conference rooms, I see hotels, I see airports. That's basically what it is. This is my first week at home for about 7 weeks. So I am delighted to be here, but it just goes to show, and it proves this point. If you don't enjoy what you do, it's going to be a drag. It's going to create friction. It's going to make it very difficult for you to have a fantastic life. But once you find what you do, yes, it's still work, but you love it so much that you can't wait to do more of it. And that enables you to get a bigger balance in your work life as well. So you've got to love it. That's my bottom line.
I love it. Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Oh my gosh, such a pleasure. Hope to speak to you again soon.
100%. Final question. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Oh, if they want to, it'd be great to hear from them, and they can go to our website, redefinewinning.com/consultation, and they can book a conversation there, or they can send a message to us as well.
Awesome. Beautiful. So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to redefinewinning.com/consultation. Redefinewinning.com/consultation. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.